In this video, I want to share with you some of my favorite content creators and those which you absolutely must be following in 2022. So first up is the Sidemen. They've had a ridiculous 2021, actually more focused outside of YouTube than inside of YouTube, with things like Side and Side Plus and XIX Vodka, all of the other things that YouTube and growing on YouTube and creating has allowed them to do. And so whilst they've focused on setting up all of those different projects, they've also remarkably managed to stay consistent with Sidemen Sundays and everything else they do on YouTube in terms of more Sidemen and Sidemen Reacts. And so if you're not already following the Sidemen or following each of the guys individually, you just have to be following them. These guys are on such an upward trajectory. And when it comes to UK YouTube, these guys are just the absolute pinnacle, and being kind of a similar age to a lot of the guys in there is very inspirational for me as well as a kind of small and young creator. Seeing what those guys have been able to do, seeing how they've been able to grow, is just incredibly inspirational for me, and what they are doing in the YouTube scene and out of the YouTube scene this year as well has set them up for unwieldy success in 2022. So you've got to be following them, not only for what great videos they'll put out on YouTube, I'm sure there'll be some bangers in Sidemen Sunday in 2022, but also just to see and get involved in everything that they're also doing outside of YouTube. The next is a creator I came across halfway through 2021, but someone I've been following quite closely since, and that is Ryan from Making Money Simple. I came across his content because I was just thinking and looking about how better to take control of my own money, and seeing someone who is in a similar position to me in life, I could really relate to in terms of how he was approaching his finances. And the one thing that I love most about Ryan and his content is his honesty and transparency. Like everything he does for his own kind of financial portfolio, he's very transparent with in terms of his videos and what's on Instagram and stuff. And so anyone can follow along and anyone can benefit in the same ways as he is. And that's what I love. You know, it's not hiding behind any mirror or hiding behind a facade that says, I've made this much money or whatever. And you know, you've got to buy my course to do this, whatever. And he's released a book as well, an ebook, which I haven't bought just yet, but I do plan on buying. And so it's great to see him kind of branching out outside of the traditional kind of YouTube, Instagram stuff as well to create some digital products for himself, which is awesome. But yeah, if you're looking for kind of help when it comes to financial investments, when you're in your 20s, Ryan is just the person to follow. Next up is Matt, a good friend of mine who I met on PTYA. And no, he's not on the list because he's a good friend of mine, but genuinely the content he makes is been awesome. The thing that I've been most impressed with him and impressed with his videos about is the fact that his ability to tell stories has improved so much. Recently, he did a video on his first experience at a Jewish wedding, and it was just like, it was really engaging, and I absolutely loved it. And so if you're looking to follow a small creator who will definitely hit over 1,000 subs in 2022, go follow Matt. Next up, we're back to the UK and we're at Kieran at the official FNG. Now, if those of you guys who are football fans, and you guys know I am a huge football fan, I'm a Liverpool fan for those of you guys who didn't know, Kieran he's provided such a unique perspective on football that I just don't think has existed on YouTube or anywhere else for such a long time. It's that kind of cross between football news but also kind of comedy, and it's something that I think he's kind of stumbled across, right? FTW, Football This Week, is his kind of main series, and it is one of the only series on YouTube that as soon as it comes out, I'm on it straight away to watch it, because it's one of the best episodic things that I think on YouTube that's coming out of the UK right now. So if you're a football fan, you have to be following Kieran. Next up is Gabby at Twenties. I've been following Twenties for a couple of months now, and being a channel myself who's trying to help people navigate their 20s, what Gabby's doing with Twenties is amazing. You know, getting people to talk about topics and things that maybe aren't discussed as much as they should be, and just getting people's opinions and thoughts on lots of different topics affecting those people in their 20s. And so I've been loving what they're doing, particularly on the podcast, getting lots of different guests from lots of different avenues, which I think is really interesting to get different perspectives on how people are dealing with their 20s. But Twenties is a fabulous Instagram page to follow, but also the podcast is amazing too. So make sure you guys go give them a follow. So next up is True Geordie, and in particular, The Kickoff. Now, The Kickoff was something that has kind of spawned in popularity over 2022, and I think a lot of that is due to kind of lockdown, and also the fact that people have just got very disillusioned and bored with the same old pundits, the same old ex-sports pros that honestly just chat a lot of garbage, and actually having a fan's perspective, understanding what true supporters of a club think about football and think about a situation, has been one of the biggest reasons why the kickoff has grown so much in the past year. And I really, really do think it's just a matter of time before a broadcaster finally switches on and realizes that integrating something like the kickoff with live footage will just lead to so many more people tuning in. I can only imagine a world where Sky Sports have kind of Sky Sports, the game, and then the whole kickoff scenario with listening to not only their commentary, but their discussion on football at the same time. I think that would be amazing. And those guys have just done such a fabulous job. They reached over 200 episodes of the kickoff this year as well. And it is, again, one of the highlight shows that I definitely check out. And anytime it's live on Twitch and I can watch it, I definitely try and tune in as well. So if you're not following True Geordie himself for the podcast, definitely follow the kickoffs if you're a football fan. Next up is the first podcast-based kind of content creation team on this list, and that is the Group Chat podcast. So I came across Group Chat on TikTok. They've grown hugely over TikTok over the past year with like various different clips from the podcast, probably more so than they have even on YouTube and kind of on the whole audio podcast side of things. And Group Chat is basically three guys. It's Anand and Dee Murphy, who are both in the fashion game out in LA, and then drama as well, Chris Path, who's also in the fashion space in LA. And it's very much just my go-to dose for pop culture. Everything that's going on from a fashion, kind of finance, just things that are hot type of thing. And these guys are great at putting the pulse on many of the things that are happening out in America. And I guess that's my kind of hope, is that in the future with Group Chat, it becomes a bit more international, both in terms of their guests and the way they kind of talk about things. I think it's great and that everything is from an American perspective, because I think so much of what's hot kind of originates from America. But it'd be really interesting to get some international perspective on that. And I've been doing some thinking about whether I would like to jump into that scene as well, because that whole pop culture thing is something that I find really interesting. And I think that as much as there is going on in America in terms of pop culture, there's also lots of stuff going on like here in Europe and in the UK in particular. But Group Chat is a great one. If you just want to get your pulse on what is going on in terms of pop culture, make sure you give those guys a follow. Next up is Ali Abdaal. Now he is probably responsible for me getting into consistently producing YouTube videos, but outside of that and what he and his team has enabled me to do for PTYA, that alone is a reason to follow him. If you're a young or upcoming content creator and you want to figure out how best to make content on YouTube, PTYA is literally the perfect course for you. But outside of that, the reason I think Ali is someone you should follow in 2022 is that his content towards the end of 2021 has kind of moved away slightly from the kind of content that made him big over the past couple of years. And it's become a lot about his challenges in terms of how he now scales and runs an organization. And that's really insightful. It's not something that many YouTubers really give you an insight to. Many of the largest YouTubers have grown in terms of team size and the types of content they make, but they don't necessarily get an insight into how that process works, the challenges with that, the challenges with essentially creating a business and growing it and sustaining it. And so Ali's been very transparent with that stuff, and that's in particular the type of content that I've been enjoying a lot from Ali. So if that's the type of stuff you're vibing with as well, definitely go check out and follow Ali. Next up is a finance YouTuber, Humphrey Yang, and basically it's very simple. If you want to know about finance, if you want to know about how to manage your money, what things you can invest in, and just a better understanding of financial assets, be it crypto or non-crypto that you want to get hold of, Humphrey is just my go-to guy. I know if I've got a question or something I've been thinking about when it comes to finance, I can go on Humphrey's channel, do a search, and he's probably made a video on it. So if you want to get yourself educated on all things finance in 2022, definitely Humphrey is your guy to follow. And finally, the content creator you should follow is me. I've recommended you guys some of my favorite content creators, and honestly, I have become my own favorite content creator. I'm producing the types of content that I would want to watch myself and the types of content that I would want to produce myself. And when I've made kind of similar videos to this in the past, I've always promised I'm going to create this type of content, or I'm going to post this consistently. And honestly, after a short period of time, I've kind of fallen off that bandwagon. And so this time the promise is less around number of videos or types of videos, and it's more that I am promising you guys that if you follow me, I am just going to continue to make videos that I think are the best videos that I can make myself, and the videos that I think my audience wants to see. And so if you want to follow a journey, which I'm definitely hoping for and planning 2022 being a YouTube journey for me, please do drop a subscribe down below, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, all that type of stuff. But I know I'm excited for 2022 in terms of what YouTube has in store for me. definitely hitting that 1,000 subscriber mark is a milestone that's there, but I kind of want to not focus on that and just focus on trying to create the best videos I can. And hopefully all of those other metrics follow as I do more of that into 2022. And so hopefully in this video, you found some useful creators that maybe you've heard of or maybe you haven't heard of. And these are some of my favorite creators that I watch on a regular basis. All of their links and stuff will be down below. So if you want to check them out across all the different social medias, you can find all the links to everything down below. But thank you all for watching this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.